Hi, this is Clay Warren, head of digital CX at Qualtrics, and I want to welcome you to a webcast series we're calling the Digital Playbook. In this webcast series, we'll discuss all things digital: digital marketing, digital analytics, digital strategy, and digital customer experience. Throughout this series, we'll invite industry experts and digital practitioners to discuss and debate these topics. Today, we're going to talk about the role of digital customer experience in today's pandemic and economic crisis. And with this in mind, we've invited our guest, Sebastian McClintock, Director of Customer Experience from Delivery Hero, to join us. Sebastian, welcome. Good to have you on.
Thank you. Thanks, Claire. Thanks for the invitation.
Sebastian, can you tell us a little bit about Delivery Hero, what services you provide, maybe where you operate and your role?
Sure. So Delivery Hero, we operate in more than 40 countries. And due to the global scope of our country, it's very important to understand from a global point of view the different customer expectations. And that's what I basically do. So my job is I'm heading the customer experience team here in Berlin, Germany. And my team and I, we take care of making sure we understand the newest trends of customers, the expectations of the customers, but also what the customer experience with us, how they see the customer journeys, the journey stages, and also how they perceive our new services. And Delivery Hero is, it's not such an old company, actually. It's and this company grew a lot over the time. So we started off as a marketplace company, which means we were the people or the platform who made sure that the customer gets many options for restaurants to order their food, and then the customer ordered on our platform from the restaurant, and the restaurant delivered. That changed a little bit over time, which means that now we have a large fleet of riders that deliver the food on the behalf of the restaurant. And it's not only the food. Over the time, especially the last two quarters, more importantly, the grocery delivery increased a lot, right, due to the COVID-19 situation. So the customer can now also order groceries on our platform. They can order drinks on our platform. They can order healthcare products. So it's a very wide portfolio what they can order from our company or from our platform. And also important or interesting to know is maybe that we do not operate under the Delivery brand globally. We have local brands in all the different markets. For example, South America, our main brand there is Pedodoscia. In the Middle East, we have Talabat. In Asia, we have Food Panda. In Europe, we have Foodora. So we're basically in all the different regions with a different brand, which makes it even more challenging, but also fun to really understand the awareness also about our brand, right?
Interesting.
And the new one, since we especially in times like these, we have to adapt to the new situation. So we started Dmart. And Dmarts are basically the small shops, the mom and pop shops, so to say, on the corner. So we offer a service for them that the customer can order from the small shops, and we deliver again the products, which means it's not like the big brands like Walmart, like Tesco. No, it's also little tiny shops. They get now the opportunity with us to be online and to sell their products online, and we deliver on their behalf.
Wow.
So it's a very nice concept, I think.
Yeah, so the consumer has a tremendous amount of choice.
Yes.
In this. Interesting.
Yes, lots of choice. And that's a challenge then, right? That's why we need the customer experience to really understand, well, what do they want, the customers? And is it too much choice, right? In some countries, we even see if we offer over a certain amount of options, that's too much for the customer. They cannot cope with that. So there we have to scale back. Some other countries or regional, they would like to have lots of options, at least to see them. Usually they pick the categories, or let's say pizza, they always ate, but at least they want to see, I have many more options. Yeah.
Right. Interesting. So, I mean, this is a pretty expansive brand. And what I would imagine that over the course of COVID-19 and a pending, or maybe it's a current global economic crisis, what are some things that Delivery Hero has done, or maybe some findings that you guys have implemented that have helped Delivery Hero during this time?
During the COVID-19 times, you mean?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. So since we have such a big fleet of riders, we launch a program to support riders specifically. Not that they don't get paid out their check every month, for example, but they get it every week. Or we help them to provide hygiene articles like face mask or gloves or enough hand sanitizers. So these are the basic, basically, right, for the riders, to ensure also that the customer feels safe. Because we have seen from our research and from simply asking a customer, they expect that the rider wears a face mask. They expect that the rider has gloves on. They expect that they can have a contactless delivery, meaning they don't want that the rider comes with the food in the hands, handing them over. They prefer the rider just leaves the food in front of the doorstep and then leaves.
Right.
And then the customer can take it. And so that's on the rider side. And on the restaurant side is, lots of restaurants are in trouble, right? Because either the government forced them to close, or they don't have enough workers anymore. The workers are sick, or whatever, for whatever reason, they cannot operate on the normal scale they're used to. So therefore, those restaurants, we also did some programs or put some programs in place to help them to overcome the time where they have lots of losses regarding profits, and also help them to, on a lower scale, at least help them to make sure they can keep operating. So at least a little bit of money comes in from their point of view.
Sure.
So there are lots of different programs we try to support our partners, so to say.
Right. How it's interesting because you mentioned some of the insights that you found that you understand the consumer expectation. The consumer expects safety. They expect your riders to wear masks, to wear gloves, to take the utmost precautions. How are you keeping, or how is Delivery Hero keeping a pulse on customers during this time?
Yeah. So in general, we are very much interested in feedback in general from our customers. So therefore, we have recurring surveys in the company implemented anyhow. And right, or next to those recurring surveys, we have on top, we call them COVID-19 surveys. So where we target customers specifically asking for the expectations, what they want now, what they are afraid of now. And what the nice thing is also that, so we call it magic triangle in the company. And the magic triangle basically is asking the customers, the restaurant, and the riders for feedback. Because all those three groups, they implement each other or impact each other, right? So the customer is angry if the food is late delivered. Well, why was the food late delivered? Was it the restaurant didn't prepare the food fast enough? Or was it that the rider did not show up on time when the food was ready? So the restaurant has to recook or warm it up or whatever. So there are many, many different variables that we measure and that we keep an eye on track every single day. So just to give you a number, in our 40 plus countries, I believe 42 of them or 41 of them, we are live with surveys. We call them after order surveys, where we ask the customer for feedback after they ordered. And every single week, we get more than 100,000 responses in.
Wow.
From globally, from all the different countries and entities. So we have a vast amount of data, and not only data itself, but we have a huge number of verbatim. So we can really leverage this verbatim, those comments, to really dig deep into the topic, what's going on with the customer. And this, I think, helped us in the COVID-19 times. Why? Because very early on, it was back in February even, in Europe, we've seen comments who mentioned Corona and COVID-19. And then as soon as, at least in Europe, the pandemic came closer and closer, those comments increased. And now that it's more over into the Americas, South and North America, we see a high portion of comments regarding COVID and Corona there. So
Right.
basically, with our comments, with the tracking, and with the service from the customer, restaurant riders, we see the waves come and go around the world, which is pretty amazing. And if you just think about what you can see and learn from the customer comments, how that correlates with the global situation.
Right. Right. And now are customers leaving those comments? Are you guys capturing feedback via an app, like a survey in an app, or is it through email, or is it a combination of both? Tell us a
Yeah,
little.
good question. That's very much depends on the country. Like in the Asian countries, the Asian countries and Middle East are very much app driven, meaning the customers, they use their phone for everything, right, or almost everything. So if you try to send out emails, you will not be as successful. Therefore, we adopted and only send in-app push messages. So as soon as the customer opens the app, or even before they get a notification saying, I know you ordered food, please let us know what you think about it, right? For example. So in-app push. In some other markets, dominantly in European markets, even some South American markets, we still send out email surveys. Because we see the email surveys, that's the right channel from the customer point of view. They use the emails, especially in Europe. Like Europe is a little bit behind sometimes, so they like emails, and then you have to send out emails with the service to us customers. But that's a very good question, because it really impacts your score and your responses. Right? Because we have seen that the in-app surveys, in-app push surveys, the response rate is usually at least 3 times higher than the email surveys, at least.
Wow.
Some countries even more.
Interesting.
And sometimes they're even more, I would say, the comments are shorter compared to emails. And in the emails, the verbatim or the customer comments are longer very often compared to the mobile phone, which makes sense, right? I mean, it's easier to have a keyboard in front of you and then type comments. That's an interesting part.
Yeah. So, Sebastian, do you think, so hopefully, I would imagine that eventually we'll move out of this crisis mode. How do you see, is this the new norm that we're in? And companies are constantly, they're probably asking you, but they're consistently asking me, is this the new norm? How should we be reacting? How do we keep a pulse on our customers? What advice do you have for maybe other CX practitioners, especially in digital, moving forward?
Yeah, for us, to be honest, it was how to say that? Like in some countries before COVID, we have seen that the customers, they wanted to pay cash. Mm-hmm. They did not like paying with credit cards. Now all of a sudden that changed.
Right.
I think, thank goodness that we had this system set up front already. So for us, it was no problem to accommodate that customer change or the behavior change, right? So it was very easy for us. And also the contactless delivery, I believe that will be one of the innovations, or not, it's not innovation, one of the ideas that we then did that will stay like this. Right. Or that we have, that you can give tip online and not wait for the rider to come and then hand out the tip in cash. So there's some changes in our process that happened during this COVID-19 situation, and they will stay for sure, I believe. What we maybe, at least, but just that's my personal opinion regarding the customer expectations, they got used now to order online, right? So we have a high share of new customers in many different regions. And from my point of view, at least, the appetite is there. They have seen it works. They've seen we deliver very fast and we are reliable. So why don't they just stay with us? Right. Why should they switch over? Go back to the old brick and mortar stores and go there, get their food, bring all the heavy goodies home. They simply can order with 2 clicks and then they're done. So that's what we have seen, a change in the behavior regarding that, which is amazing, which is really good for our business, obviously.
Yeah, I think I 100% agree. I think we've seen a shift in
Yeah.
consumer behavior, and that they're
Yes.
becoming more acclimated to digital channels
Yes.
and becoming okay with I can stay at home and I can have a very good experience
Yes.
working with a brand through digital channels instead of having to get in my car and do the traditional run to the restaurant and sit down.
Exactly.
Yeah, I 100% agree. This has been interesting. Do you feel like, I mean, Delivery Hero has certainly been a digital savvy brand. You guys are
Mhm.
obviously, talk to me a little bit about, the advantages that maybe Delivery Hero had as being a digital first brand.
Um, but the advantage is that we can scale everything, and we do scale everything, right? So
Right.
if we see there's a new innovation or some new features, they're working very well in one market, or the customers actually they approved, so to say, based on the feedback, they really like that new feature. It's fairly easy for us to roll that out globally on a global scale.
Right.
So was always very important for us, the scalability. And that's similar for the customer experience from my team. Everything we do, we keep in mind this has potential to be done globally on a global scale in all 40 countries. In all our 200 plus service we have live every single day. Right. So and with this in mind, for us it's very important to have a good tool where we can do this, where we can scale up, where we can simply add new customer segments, where we can simply target certain customer segments we want to understand even better.
Right.
And that's why for us it's very important to as I mentioned, to have a scalable approach.
Yeah.
So
Speed, scale,
yes,
intelligent targeting, all
yes,
are critical things. And we talk to customers all the time about these
yeah,
aspects of, it's not just collecting feedback. It's about
yes,
being able to do this in real time in an intelligent way. That's a great learning.
yeah, yeah.
I appreciate
And
that.
and talking about speed, it just came into my mind the another customer behavior, another shift in customer behavior we have seen over the last 2 years is the delivery time.
Mm,
So, for example, up to 2 years ago, it was totally fine to get your pizza delivered within an hour, maybe, or 45 minutes tops. And then if you received your pizza within 45 minutes, you were top notch, right?
right.
Nowadays, customers, they expect 25 minutes, 30 minutes delivery time.
Right.
And we
Right.
make it happen, right? So we make sure it happens. And and that's amazing to see with either, although we're such a big company, we're still able to first of all identify customer expectation, but also fulfill the customer expectations and figure out processes and put processes in place which helps us to deliver the promise we make to the customer. You get your pizza in whatever 30 minutes also, right?
Right.
Which is very important, and it's also something my team, the customer experience team, needs to push even more to the management, because we know exactly that's the expectation from the customer, that we see in the numbers, what we've seen in feedback. They they expect the food between, let's say, 30 minutes and 40 minutes. If you're 2 or 3 minutes more or less, it doesn't matter, right? But they expect a certain delivery time which is promised up front and then kept the promise. And
Yeah.
they're not very much don't care. The customers sometimes don't care if I don't know, if you have a small Coke or big Coke as an offer. They
Right.
just want a drink with it, right? So
Right.
there are some things that also what we need to figure out, what really matters to the customer. What we think it did, it's not true very often. That's why we have such extensive program in Delivery Hero to figure out what drives the customer, what are the expectations of the customer.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I found that as well, is that, CX, a lot of times, especially in digital, I keep finding brands are like, hey, we're measuring NPS. And I'm like, that's great.
Yeah. And then what?
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
then what?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
CX is more about understanding how to meet
Yes.
customer expectations, discovering the unknown unknowns at times, that customers
Mhm.
have these expectations that a lot of times, unless you ask and you ask in the right way and you collect that data over time, or even in real time, you're unable to uncover what that expectation is and how to meet that. And it feels like Delivery Hero has done such a good job of doing that. I've been so impressed with
Thank you.
your brand. Sebastian, I really appreciate your time today. It feels like you've kind of laid out the playbook for digital CX during a time of crisis, and I can't thank you enough. Perhaps we can have you back on the webcast at a future date if you guys learn anything. I want to close with
Sure.
if anybody.
Thank you, Clay.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to, for those who are listening, if you want to talk about anything you heard on the webcast or about how Qualtrics can help your business customer experience, please feel free to email me at claywarren@qualtrics.com or visit our website, qualtrics.com, for more information. Stay tuned next time for our next webcast. Thank you.